Howdy folks, it's Sunday, October 28th. Today is one of my granddaughter's birthdays, and we'll have her little birthday party with aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins and siblings tonight, this Sunday. I'll just sort of give you a little bit of look around the shop. You know, I've been putting this up for quite a while. I got a sump pump way over there that hopefully will never need it. This is a shelving unit that I built out of the old 2x4s, and then the shelf, the wood shelf, that's the old OSB that would have otherwise been thrown away. Up there I've got some insulation that I'll reinstall again on the outside of the house. This pipe I put in, that's for radon, that ties into the sump pump lines that go all around the edge. And then right now I've just got it sort of truncated, but if I need to put in radon, I'll run it up through the garage roof. The dust collector, I think you can see when you look at all the dust on the floor and the garbage can that I actually haven't been using the dust collector. That's my second full gallon of paint, so I've gone through about 2.5 gallons. This is just a bunch of kindling that I save, and then friends that want it, if anybody wants it, come and get it. Here's some more sawdust from not using that dust collector over there. So, well, this is my new bandsaw. I've written about that a little bit. I have yet to, I gotta there's a table that goes over here, and then the blade. They say putting this part together is a 2-person job. So I'm waiting for Linda. It'll probably be Monday or sometime this week. Here is white oak, and there's 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. And those will be the thresholds for my French doors. I'm back wanting to do white oak again after watching a YouTube video that I think I mentioned the other night. That's my planer. So that makes the top of the board flat, like this. And this is my jointer here. And what I use it generally for is to make the edge flat. And once I have a flat top, then I'll run it through the planer. If I have a flat edge, I run it through my table saw up against this fence. These here, this is really sort of an organized pile of wood. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 styles here, I believe, maybe more. Yeah, let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 styles. And I have to straighten those. I did that on one of them this morning. I had 8 or 9 that were straight coming out of the clamps. So once they're straight, what I do is, for instance, this is a white oak style. And what I do is I drill these holes. And then this, for instance, I've got holes drilled here, and this one, for instance, matches up with that. And I put dowels in, and I pound it so that it's tight, and obviously glued it. And I do that on both sides of the style. And then what I do is I take them over here, And I can get 3 stiles in here, more if I need to. And I'll clamp them tight, and then I'll use a lot of these pipe clamps and the like on the top to pull them tight. And then when I'm done, what I end up with is this is a piece of cherry. This is the one below it. So this is a piece of cherry, white oak, white oak, white oak, white oak. And here I have about 8 inches of white oak. And that's the bottom of the outside of the door. And then from here up, this last board is cherry. And the reason I have cherry on the outside is I want, when we open the door, for people to see a cherry edge. Okay. Now, this would be the bottom of the door. I've just got them all glued up. I got to plane them. But you see, that's the bottoms, that's the tops. And these are the sides of the door, or the stiles. And what I will do, before I cut anything to size, what I will do is I'll run all of this stuff, the bottoms, the tops, and the stiles, through without adjusting. I'll get the planer adjusted, and then I'll run them all through so that I can get them all planed down to the same thickness, all 3 parts, the stiles, and the top rail, and the bottom rail. And that way I'll have everything uniform. Once I get it flat, these are flat and they're square right here, these 3. See, there's 1, 2, 3. And I'm able to, I try to glue up about 3 at a time because the glue starts to dry up on me on the first one by the time I'm done with the third. So I'll run them all through the planer, get them all the same thickness. And then what I'll do is I'll cut my veneer, which is going to be a 1/4 inch strip. Now these are my cherry boards. They're about 12 feet long. This one, for instance, you can see from here to there, I know that board is about 14 inches wide. And that's a real nice board. You can see, though, you know, they skip plane it, and that's to get it as nice and smooth as that is. But you can see on this board, it still has to go through the planer. If I was going to, you know, use that whole board as a, you know, for the door, or you know, whatever I have left on this pile when I'm done, and there will be quite a bit left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a harvest table. Linda calls it a harvest table. It's really a dining room table. When it's closed up, it'll be 8 feet long, and when it's opened up, there's some hardware that you can buy that'll allow it to open up so that there's an additional 6 feet in the middle. And so it'll end up being then a 14-foot table, the 8, that'll be the nominal length, and then the 6 with those, with that hardware that we'll slide leaves in on. So I still have more than enough lumber, but that's my cherry. This is sort of organized chaos. I think I've talked to you guys about this jig, and you know, I've got a little toggle bolt there and there, and what I do is, this is just, this and this are part of the same board. It's about a 10-inch board, and I mounted this board to it with these toggles. And to straighten the edge of a board, what I'll do is I will clamp it onto this unit and then run it through my table saw, probably set as high as it'll go, to get a straight edge on it. And the reason it gets to be a straight edge is because the right edge of that board there is following this fence right here. And that fence is parallel to the blade. So I talked about my bandsaw, my jointer, my planer, a little bit about my table saw. Linda bought that for me probably 10 years ago. I would not have spent that much money on it, on a tool, but she did, although on my bandsaw, all in, like with that mobile base, I'm probably into that for almost 1,800 bucks. This is a piece of cherry. What I'm planning, and you can see this one's sort of rough. Right there, you can see. So what I'm planning on doing with this board is I'll take and cut it at 8 feet. And so whatever is left, I take and I put over there, and I've got a little pile of unused boards that are about that size or bigger right here. These are leftovers, like that's a leftover from an end. And I'll take and use those to make veneers on the bottoms, on the rails. I'll use them to, as the final trim pieces on the rails or the stiles. But I'll find a use for that, and then whatever lumber is left over, I'll make cutting boards out of. So back over here, what I'll do is I'll cut this board then, that 8-foot section. I'll bring that over to the jointer, which remember makes this flat edge, and I'll run it through. Now you see I have this table here, this wooden table that I made, and I've got that little puppy, so it's right up even flat with this. And what I will do is I'll put that board on edge. I have this, what they call a feather board, and this will hold that cherry board tight against this fence right here. And it'll go through and I'll get a nice square flat edge. And I've got this thing set to take probably a 1/16. You can see probably about a 1/16 of an inch off. And I'll run it through, and if I hear that it missed a spot, I know that was a high spot. I'll run it through again until I hear it, that blade taking pieces off all the way through. So what I'm going to do right now probably is I'm going to go up to Culver's for lunch. It's about 2:15. When I get back, I'll do that. I'll take that board and run it like I just talked about. Then when it's flat, I'll put the flat edge against here, and I'll cut 1 inch into that board, and then bring it back, and I'll crank my saw blade up and cut another 1 inch. That's Linda just came in. And what that'll do is then I'll end up with these strips, like I showed you over here, that get glued. They get glued to the cores. So thanks for following the progress. Bye.